on a map, like if you put in like food near me, you'll get um, lots of fast food places. You'll get a lot of restaurants. You'll get a lot of carryouts. You'll get a lot of just like convenience stores. But where's the healthy grocery store? The only one near here is Whole Foods. And if you are below the federal poverty limit, Whole Foods that's out the question. Hi everybody, I'm Mark James. I'm the Farm Programs Manager here at Common Good City Farm. We're located right here in LeDroit Park, Washington, D.C., right in between V Street and Elm Street. If you're familiar with the neighborhood, we're next to the Kelly Miller Housing Project and right across from the Bloomingdale neighborhood. Established in 2008 by local community members, Common Good City Farm has been the main source of fresh fruits and vegetables here in DC. This area was originally a school, which got shut down, and the community decided to get together and have a farm. I was a student at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. When I came in, I was actually a business major. I spent 2 summers interning with Raymond James. It's an investment firm on 18th and I. It was actually really, really cool. I met a lot of amazing people. I worked for an amazing woman. She was a VP there, and she showed me DC like I've never seen it before. But I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy there. So my sophomore year, when I went back to Eastern Shore, I changed my major. I was undeclared. I had no major, just like wandering, just like trying to figure out what to do with my life. And I met a guy, and this guy was just so vibrant, so electric. And he was telling me about the agriculture program. And I was like, agriculture? Like, I'm from DC. What am I going to do, like with an agriculture degree? My family doesn't have a bunch of acres or anything like that. So we kept talking and we kept talking, and I kept wandering around the campus like, man, I got to find a major. I got to find a major. And one day I just went over to the agriculture building. It's a Trig Hall on the Eastern Shore campus. And I mean, I don't know if you've ever walked in somewhere and just felt at home, but that was the feeling. As soon as I walked in, I met Corey Cotton, and she talked to me about the program and what I would need to do. And then she also introduced me to another woman named Gail Sykes, who, all of which we're all still like friends today. We still talk. And then they introduced me to a professor, Dr. Lurleen Marsh, and also Dr. Fawzi Hashim. And those people just embraced me like I was a son. I did agriculture for the bachelor's, and then I did food microbiology for my master's. And all the time that I was there, it was like family. I remember graduating and crying because it felt like I was leaving my family at home. In 2007, I was wrongfully imprisoned. And while I was in prison, I met a guy who did a robbery because he was hungry. That kind of like sparked a journey for me to like get to know like why do people do certain things. But you don't mean to cause any harm or any pain. You're just trying to feed yourself. So it goes into people committing crimes, people selling their bodies for food, people just losing their humanity just to stay alive. So I think about that like while I'm on this food journey. I stayed out on the Eastern Shore for a little while. I worked in chicken houses, I worked in swine houses, I did organic tomato farming. I did a lot of what some people call guerrilla farming, which is just finding open areas that are not being used by anyone, either like within a city or like outside the city, and I would just grow and give my food away. In 2015, when I met my wife, we found spaces in Baltimore, and along with the Baltimore City Master Gardeners, just turned like what were vacant, uninhabited homes, clear that land and turn it into community farms, for as long as possible, because often what would happen is the city would come in and then be like, oh, eminent domain, we're going to use this land for a park or a football field or whatever. And I also have a business, it's called Higher Harvest, where I actually go and help people install gardens, the whole part of the garden, from planting it out all the way into like if you need boxes built. I believe farming or even gardening, it's a communal thing. And until you have like a lot of people behind you, it's a lot of work for one person, because there's a lot of parts to the farm. There's the growing, the harvesting, which is like the maintenance. But then you have to think about like communication, like getting what you do out to people, or marketing. You have to think about the business aspects. Then you have to think about the legal and the compliance aspects. So in theory, like to run even like a small farm, you need around like 4 to 5 people just to help you with all the different sectors, as well as you need about, well, depending on the size of the farm, you may need as much as 10 to 15 people to assist you with the labor as well. Every day is something to focus on. So like one day could be like finances, like always checking your money, because you want to make sure you're not just putting your shoulder to the wheel and just expending all your energy. Another day may be writing code, or another day may be focused on getting deliveries ready for the next day, or another day could be placing orders for like if you need compost, or if you need feed, or just checking on your animals. Typically doing about 45 to 50 hours per week, when you have the support. And if you don't have the support, it's like a 60-hour per week type of job, But fortunately, like here at Common Good, we have a staff of 5, and we have about 15 to 20 volunteers that help support our food access efforts. Like if you put in like food near me, you'll get lots of fast food places. You'll get a lot of restaurants. You'll get a lot of carry-outs. You'll get a lot of just like convenience stores. But where's the healthy grocery store? The only one near here is Whole Foods. And if you are below the federal poverty limit, Whole Foods that's out the question. Because even if you want to eat healthy, what you get for $50 at Whole Foods, that may not be enough to feed a family of 2 or 3 or 4, So where we're located, 90% of the people to the north of us are below the federal poverty limit. And going to Whole Foods, one, you got to drive there, or you got to have a friend with a car. So you got to think about the transportation. Then it's the cost of the actual food. So having a farm like right here across the street from where people live that are below the federal poverty limit, is it the remedy to the issue? Maybe. We do what's called a pay what you can market. So you come, you pick your fruits, you pick your vegetables, your meat, your eggs, and you pay exactly what you can. So let's say you do your shopping and all your total is like $40. If you say, hey, I can only pay 20, you still leave with all your groceries. You don't have to fill out any forms or anything. Or even if you say I can only pay 0, then you still leave with food, because we're essentially just a food access point. How we'll cover the losses, by the grace of God, and we'll figure it out, but our goal is just to make sure people have a point of access for quality food. We take all your standard payments, cash, check, credit, basically all forms of public assistance, as well as, like Cash App and Venmo as well. It's really been a farmer's year. Typically, you get about 1/10 of an inch of rain a month, we've been getting close to like almost 3 inches every month, which also speaks to climate change. But yeah, we've been getting about 3 inches every month. So there's a lot of things grown here. We have, well, right here we have our pawpaw, our native Maryland fruit. Then we have all types of peppers, from sweet peppers, sweet snacking peppers, to some really hot peppers like Scotch bonnets, and also some medium hot peppers like bird pepper and things like that. We have red noodle beans, so really long, or some people call it the Chinese bean. We have Jamaican callaloo. We got ginger, turmeric. We have a medicinal herb garden. Not weed. We're not growing weed here, but we have a medicinal herb garden with things like passiflower and comfrey and just like all kind of things that you would need, like depending on how you feel. Also, we have okra, we have tomatoes, we have several types of tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, heirlooms, and Cherokee purples as well. Asian pears, we've got figs, and we had cherries as well. I would say probably beans number one, because beans like they usually they usually guarantee some type of growth. And they usually grow really quickly. I would also say maybe some kind of melons. You know, melons are kind of relatively easy to grow. They just need a lot of space because they're runners. And I mean, if you're feeling up to the challenge, I would say maybe you want to put down some strawberries or some flowers as well if you wanted to start a garden.